So I realized that I reviewed every single Friday the 13th movie, including Never Hike Alone, but I did not review Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th, which was based on a book which was then made into a 7 hour documentary released on Blu-ray and DVD. And I watched this movie, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it came out in 2013, but I think I bought it a couple years ago and watched it for the first time. And I wanted to talk about this one because I have talked about every other Friday movie on this channel, and I love a majority of the Friday the 13th movies. And I just was at Best Buy, and I saw this for like 15, 20 bucks, I think, on Blu-ray for this two disc set for 7 hour documentary on Friday the 13th on one of my favorite franchises ever made, that I've rewatched so many times, infinitely. And I immediately had to buy that movie. I thought that looked so cool, and I had heard of it, but I just never had the chance to see it. Now, I want to say that I have seen this documentary dozens of times. Like, I can just put this on in the background anytime. This is one of the best, most informative documentaries of a film franchise I've ever seen. I've also seen Never Sleep Again, which is the history on A Nightmare on Elm Street, the movies as well. But I'm more of a Friday fan, even though I do enjoy the Elm Street movies. I just don't rewatch them as much, but they're both made by the same people. And this one, I think, blows it out of the water just because I'm more of a fan of Friday than Nightmare on Elm Street. And there's more movies, so it's like 7 hours long for this one. But the thing I love about this movie is that they tried, or this documentary, is that they tried their hardest to put literally everything in their heart and soul to make this documentary as legit as could be. Because every single film, they go into detail with every single Friday the 13th film, all 12 of them, including an epilogue at the end of the movie, where they get every single known actor that is alive and wants to be a part of this documentary to join. And of course, there are people who did not join who to shame away the thought that they're in a Friday the 13th movie, like Kevin Bacon or like Tony Goldwyn. But the thing I love is that every chapter is one of the Friday films, and they do a fantastic job of again bringing every actor they can into these interviews, get old set photos that have never been seen before online, and put them into this documentary, and interviewed everybody they could to make this a legit, really, really great documentary. And the thing I love is that every movie, they talk, like every chapter is a movie, so every chapter is like 40 minutes to an hour long just for one single movie. And that in its own right is so cool, because you would think that there's not much to talk about with these movies, because I'm a big fan of them, but like they're a lot of the time just slashers. But I love how, or they are slashers, but I like the fact that you get so many interviews with the people who wanted to be interviewed, and they give all these stories and tidbits about working on the films. Like, for example, Susan Blue from Part 7 said, like, they actually blew up that house at the end of the movie, and, like, there were things rigged to blow up, and all the people working on the movie were smoking, and she's like, why are you smoking around this? Like, it literally could have blown up, and they would have blown up with it if they were not smart enough smoking. Like, I just thought that was a really cool tidbit, and I like how even if people love or hate certain iterations of these films, and listening to the commentary on this as well, it really is cool that even though all these people who made this movie, even though they all, whether they love or hate any of these films, they give them all the respect that they deserve, because every single film, even the ones that are ridiculed, like Jason X or Jason Goes to Hell or Part 8 or Part 5, like, they're all so informative and so, like, again, they got everybody they could interview that wanted to be on here. They got old set photos, they got every detail of the film, of each film, and I love how they went that informative on it. Like, it is a very interesting documentary and just very rewatchable, because again, this is one of my favorite franchises ever, so I really think that this is truly one of the best for me, personally. And again, it's so great to see all these cast members talk about working on the movie. And there's a lot of funny interviews from people who come in and interview, like Monica Keena, who played, who was in Freddy vs. Jason. And the way that she talks about how a fan came up to her after the fact of the movie and they made an Ash versus Evil, or an Ash, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comic book, and her character dies like in the first like 5 pages or something. And it's so funny because she's got this reaction like, Jason wouldn't have even killed me if I didn't give him his machete back. Like I saved him and I killed Freddy. And it's so funny because of her reaction to it. So I really love all these interviews, and I love everybody they got. And I love how even the people who aren't involved, they still talked about them. Like, for example, they mentioned Kevin Bacon, of course. They mentioned Tony Goldwyn. They mentioned all these actors that are big and didn't want to come do this, which is kind of a shame, but it's still fine anyways because they still brought them in a way. So yeah, just man, rewatching this, I had to talk about it because it's such an incredible documentary that if anybody has not seen this and is a fan of Friday the 13th, you are missing out, in my opinion. This is incredible. Just one of the best documentaries I've ever seen for a movie franchise. And because it's one of my favorites, that makes it even better. So tell me down below what you think of Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. And thank you guys so much for watching.